Hello and welcome back to the Sam Beast YouTube channel and another one of our ITAM shorts. Today we're talking to Barry Pilling, the Operations Director for ITSX Assure. And in this part of the video, I asked Barry what his vision is for ITAM within the next 10 years. Makes a lot of valid points about ITAM being kind of the middleman, governing all of these different cloud infrastructures, managing the spend, etc. But hey, I'll let Barry tell you what he thinks the plan for ITAM is over the next 10 years. So hope you enjoy and we'll see you on the next one.
Where are we?
Me personally, I'll be considering retirement. So.
That is the most.
It's probably
you
not
can't have it out of that. No. You've not retired yet. What does it look like? Come on, what are our challenges? Where are we?
I think there are so many potential challenges because I think at the moment, obviously, everyone's talking about digital transformation and cloud and, getting everything on cloud. I think at the moment, people are just getting used to the idea of having public cloud and virtual servers running applications, business applications on public cloud. That is actually now starting to disappear. Virtual servers are still very much the way to go at the moment. But when you start thinking about, you've got containerization, which is then segmenting virtual servers. But then actually you're now moving into microservices, which is effectively, so if anyone's familiar with AWS Lambda, so AWS Lambda is effectively a service you can run on AWS. You basically write a piece of code to perform a specific function, and that's all it does. And it's not even using the resources that a container would use. So you're then effectively putting a bit of code on AWS saying you do that, and it will probably then point to another bit of code, another bit of Lambda doing something else, which then points to something. And it's a whole chain. So I think over the next 10 years, most of this has come in the last 10 or 15 years. The next 10 years, there's huge scope for change. But I still think, software asset management and IT asset management is about cost management these days. Once upon a time, it was, it's all about compliance. We need to know where our devices are. We need to know, are we breaching any license contracts? Now businesses are needing to drive costs down. Particularly off the back of what's happened in the last year. And I think in 10 years' time, it's still going to be about, probably even more so, about cost management, where I think in 10 years, everything is pretty much going to be in the cloud or in somebody else's platform. There won't be that many large enterprises still running their own in-house IT systems and IT applications, because the cost associated with it is just too great compared to where you could save money by putting it on AWS or Azure or IBM Cloud or Oracle Cloud or wherever else you want to put it. So I think Sam and ITAM, it's all going to be about cost management and trying to keep checks on the users. Making sure you understand your joiners, movers, leavers process. I'll get that one in before you do because I know you're dying to say that. The industry will thrive because there will always be. I think it will. I'm not a subscriber to the view that cloud means you don't need to do IT asset management. There has to be. The problem is, businesses, particularly large businesses, they want to have a view of what they're spending, because if you can't see what you're spending, you can't control your costs. And at the end of the day, shadow IT is a thing. We previously very much frowned upon shadow IT, but now the market seems to be moving more towards actually, look, if people want shadow IT, fine, let them do that as long as it's governed. And I think that's the important thing, because if you have developers going off and doing something on Azure or AWS or wherever else they happen to be doing it, and you haven't got a view of what they're standing up and sitting down, how do you actually manage the costs associated with that? How do you optimize and actually leverage the size of your organization if you don't have somebody who can sit in the middle and keep an eye on all of that? Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a software asset manager, but I do think people who've spent a career in SAM dealing with processes and governance and licensing and technology are uniquely placed to be the person that sits in the business, in the middle of the business, keeping an eye outwardly on all of the various cloud platforms and actually leveraging the power of that business to try and keep the costs minimal. So I think we will thrive.